Good morning, everyone. Miss Brocker here. Today is Wednesday, October 28th. It will be an independent learning day for you. Our learning targets is I can use efficient strategies to divide multi-digit dividends by multi-digit divisors, including the partial product and the standard algorithm. Today we're going to work on partial product. So this is the first time you're going to be seeing this. We're going to do two problems on this video for you, and then you will have two problems to try out on your work today. Our to-do list is right below here. Watch the lesson video. When you are done, go to the Wednesday work on your Google Slides. Assignment, if you have any extra time, log on to Extra Math. Your login details for Extra Math are in your email from September. I'm not sure why that got cut off. Also, if you did not get done with your Flipgrid from Monday or your practice yesterday, please go back and do that. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is talk about some division vocabulary. I'm going to be using it in our partial product method today, strategy today, so I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking you to do. There was a little bit of this in our lesson yesterday, but I want you to be able to recognize the pieces of a division problem no matter how they are presented to you. What you might see today is something like this: 35 divided by 7 equals, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but that slash also means the same thing as this: 35 divided by 7, because that slash is actually a fraction bar. We're not working on fractions right now, but fractions are also a way to represent division. So if you see this slash here, it does mean divide. That means we are breaking 35 into 7 pieces. The same thing is happening in this problem. Or you might see 35 divided by 7. Okay, all three of these mean the exact same thing. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about quick is division vocabulary. So in our division problem, we actually have 3 parts. Okay, we have what is called our dividend, and that is the number we are breaking into pieces. So in this case, 35 would be our dividend. That is the number we are breaking into pieces. And then we also have our divisor, okay? And I'm going to circle that 7. And that is the work number, the number that is doing the breaking into pieces, the number that is doing the dividing. And then we also have our answer to a division problem, which is called the quotient. Quotient. Okay, now I want you to see this as we normally set up a division problem, because when we do partial quotient, you need to be able to start the problem setting it up as well. So let's do an example over here. I'm going to write my problem in blue. We are going to have 527 divided by 3. And this is kind of like in multiplication when we set up the area model, or we set up our partial products, or we set up the standard algorithm. Whenever you do a division problem, it depends on the strategy that you're going to use, how you set it up. But you do need this vocabulary to help you. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to label all of these pieces. And also we have our answer piece right here. So this is the quotient, Quotient. And I'm going to try and fit this all right here. This number that is being broken up into pieces is the dividend. And then lastly, we have our number that is doing our dividing work, and that is the divisor. Okay. Okay, now when you see this in partial quotient, I'll talk about this in just a second, you're going to set up a division box that looks like this, kind of. And the number that is doing the dividing work, the divisor, is always going to go on the outside. Your dividend, or the number you're breaking into pieces, is going to go inside of that box. And then your quotient is going to go on the top. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know the quotient to this, so I'm just going to write quotient on the top. Okay. Okay, we're going to start out by doing our first partial quotient problem today. We are going to be dividing 935 by 4. So here is the problem over here, and I'm going to go through these steps over here on the right side of the screen as we work through our problem. And then when you get onto your Google Slides assignment, if you want to have this up and be looking at this, this is also the steps that you need to solve, okay? Just like with multiplication, the first part of this is going to be our setup. And when you do partial quotient, you are going to need a lot of room on the right side of your problem. So I'm going to write this kind of close to my left side of my screen, and I'm going to start by writing my division box. And one thing that's a little bit different when you do partial quotient is you're going to do a long tail on the side of your division box. And you might recognize doing the standard algorithm from last year. You didn't do that long tail, okay? Okay, and then I'm going to place in this box my dividend, the number I'm breaking into pieces, 935, and on the outside I'm going to put my divisor 4. And I won't put my quotient on top until we're all done, okay? Whew, perfect. Now, one other thing that some kids like to do to help them with this is to write some easy facts. And I will model this for you. It is going to be at the bottom of your steps. So easy facts are going to be facts that help us, multiplication facts that help us do this division, because the cool thing about partial quotient is yes, you are doing division, but you're using all of your multiplication knowledge to help you. Okay, so this is a lot more about multiplication than it is actually about division. So let's write down some of our easy facts. Now, you're going to use multiples of 10 to help you out. So I'm just going to write 4 times 10 right here, and I know that product is 40. And I know that 4 times 100 is 400. I'm also just going to do 4 times 2 equals 8, okay? I'm going to show you how we're going to use these, and then some of you might adopt this strategy, some of you might not think it is useful. Okay, first step on our list. We're over here right now. Think, what number can I multiply 4 by, or your divisor by, to get close to your dividend without going over? And then the hint is start with multiples of 10. Okay, start with multiples of 10. So what we're going to do on this part right here, this side, is we are going to write multiplication facts and then use those answers to subtract from our dividend. Okay? And we're going to make the numbers we're multiplying the divisor by really big. Okay, so when I look at this, I see that if I use 4 times 10, that's only 40. That's not close. And I see if I use 4 times 100, I'm going to get to 400, but I think I could get closer by doing, ooh, look at this, 8 times 2. 8 times 2, or sorry, 4 times 2 is only 8, but I could still multiply that maybe times, not 100, but 200, and get really super close. Let's try that out. So on this side, you are going to write the number you are multiplying your divisor by. So I'm going to start with 200, and then I'm going to make that 200 really super big, and I'm going to make my 4 really small. And I'll tell you why you're doing that later. And then that product is going to go right next door underneath our dividend. So 200 times 4 is 800. And then you are going to subtract. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to subtract right now. I'm going to use blue for this. So 5 minus 0 is 5. You might still have to do some regrouping here. 3 and 1. Okay, so now this is my new piece that I'm trying to figure out how many times I can break into pieces by my divisor 4. So as you're doing this, it's kind of like when we broke up our multiplication problems into partial product. This is partial quotient, so you're getting one chunk of the answer at a time. Okay, now I'm looking at this 135. Let's see, how close can I get to that? Maybe look here in our easy facts, see if we can find anything. I don't see anything that's super useful. We could use 4 times 10 again if we wanted to, but I think I can get a little bit closer. I'm going to use, let's see. And you can even see me as I'm modeling this. I'm thinking about my multiplication knowledge to help me, and I'm thinking about how close I can get. I'm actually going to use another fact we didn't write down. I'm going to use 4 times 30 because I know that 4 times 3 is 12 and 30 is 10 times greater than 3. So 4 times 30 is 120. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use 30 times 4. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I see, and I should have written that down a little bit. Let me change that a tiny bit. Just model this really well for you. I'm going to use 30 times 4. So I made that 30 when I multiply my divisor by really big. And the reason why I'm using that is I can get pretty close to 135 because 30 times 4 is 120. That's really close. Now I'm going to subtract again. 5, 1. Okay, nothing in my hundreds place, so now 15. And then you're repeating this process over and over and over again. So right now, we've only done that top part. So we've thought about what number can I multiply my divisor by 4 to get close to the dividend without going over. And then we used a multiple of 100 and a multiple of 10 so far. And then it says repeat until you can't subtract anymore. And I see 15. So now what we're going to use is, can we use any of our easy facts or anything we know about 4 to get close to 15? And this is one of your fact fluency facts, but what I see right here in my list, do you see this? 4 times 3 equals 12. Yep, that's what we're going to use. That is as close as we can get. So now I'm going to put my 3 here, kind of big. And I'm going to multiply it times my divisor, 4. And then that answer I'm going to put right here. So that product to that multiplication problem goes right there, and then we're going to subtract. So 15 minus 12 is 3. Okay, and now we're back to step 1. Think, what number can I multiply by 4 to get close to 3 without going over? And the answer is you cannot multiply anymore. So if this happens in any of your problems today, which I don't think it will, this is your remainder. We'll talk a lot about these over the next week. But you are going to put that as part of your quotient. Now, we haven't really found our answer yet. We've only found pieces of our answer. So now we're going to work on finding our quotient. That is step 3 right here. Add up all the partial quotients. Include any remainders in your final quotient. So do you see how we made our numbers we multiplied our divisor by way bigger when we wrote them as multiplication problems, and we wrote those 4s kind of as baby 4s? The reason for that is because these are the numbers, these big ones, we multiplied our divisor by, those are the numbers we are going to add to find our quotient. And what I tried to do was to line them up by place value as I wrote them, but you can always rewrite them. 233, and then add. Okay, so this is going to be our quotient, and we need to include our remainder. So I'll show you how to do that. Remember from our division vocabulary, your quotient is going to come up here and be on the top of your division box. So I'm just going to write 233. So what that means is if you break 935 up into 4 equal pieces or 4 equal groups, each group will have 233, and then there will be 3 left over our remainder down here. So the way I want you to write remainders right now is just write R3, and that's it. Okay, we're going to do one more partial quotient problem today. This one is going to have a 2-digit divisor, and some of you might see this on your practice today. I want you to give it a try. Okay, we're going to start by setting up our partial quotient division box. So I'm going to put my division box right here. Draw that kind of tail down, and in the inside I'm going to put my dividend, 1,398. And on the outside goes my divisor, 26. So we are going to be breaking 3,198 into 26 equal groups, okay? Now, one thing that might help some of you, like I tried to model on the last slide, was some easy facts. And these are multiplication facts that you know about this number. And I'm guessing that some of you, or maybe not all of you, not me, know a whole lot about your multiples of 26, because I don't really, but I do know a couple of things. Like first, I know that 26 times 10 equals 260. I know that 26 times 100 is going to equal 2,600. I know that 26 times 2 is 52. Okay, so we're going to use that for right now. Okay. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do is go through our steps over here. We're going to work on step 1, and we'll keep coming back to that over and over and over again. We're going to think, what number can I multiply 26 by to get close to 3,198? And again, I don't expect you to be able to skip count by 26 or automatically know that answer. But what I do expect you to do is use this multiplication down here to help you. So what I see right now that is going to get me kind of close to this is 26 times 100. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to write 100, kind of big, times 26. And then that product to 100 times 26, I'm going to put right underneath my dividend and then subtract. So I see down here in my easy facts that 26 times 100 is 2,600. And then we are going to subtract. And what's going to happen each time we find a part of our quotient is we're kind of going to get a new problem or a new chunk of that dividend to break down into pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to subtract here. 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 0 is 9. I'm going to have to come over here and borrow from my thousands. I'm going to regroup one of those thousands into 10 hundreds. So I have 11 minus 6 is 5. 598. Okay, now again, I don't expect you to know your multiples of 26, but what I see, look at, can we use this 52 here? Could we maybe try and multiply 26 times, not 2, maybe times 20? Because I see 26 times 10 is 260, so let's try 20. You know that 26 times 2 is 52, and then because 20 is 10 times more than 2, you're going to add 1 0 to that product to make it as big. Ooh, that's pretty close, right? 520. Let's use that. So I'm going to do green for this step. So now we're just doing this part. We're repeating again and again until we can't subtract. So right here, I'm going to write 20. I'm going to write it pretty big, times 26 times our divisor. And we got that down here. We got that product down here is 520. And then we're going to subtract. So 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. 5 minus 5 is nothing. So I'm not even going to write that. Okay. Now we got our dividend chunked down to 78. So now do any of your fast facts down here help you? I know if I do 26 times 1, that's only 26. Or you might be able to get even closer. We'll see. Okay. I'm going to use this fast fact right here, 26 times 2. Okay. And now the cool thing is you might be able to use different parts of the quotient depending on your multiplication knowledge. So some of you might have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 steps, and some of you might only have 3, and that is okay. 26 times 2 is 52. We're going to subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6, and 7 minus 5 is 2. 26. Oh, wow. Okay, so how can we get this to 0? We want to have a product that we can subtract from that is going to get us to 0, because we're still working on this repeating until we can't subtract anymore. So I see if I multiply 26 times 1, I will get 26 and subtract to a 0. Perfect. Okay, now we're done with this part. Now we're on part 3. Now we are going to work on adding up all of our partial quotients, and then we're going to include any remainders in our final quotient, which I do not see. So what we're going to do is box these big numbers that we multiplied our divisor by, and we are going to add them all up. Now, if you need to rewrite them to line up place value, you can. I see right now in ones place I have 3, my tens place I have 2, and my hundreds place I have 1. So our final answer, our final quotient is going to be 123. Okay, the last step that I kind of missed last time was this part right here. And this isn't super important today. We will work on this later in the week. But what we can do is we can use multiplication by multiplying our quotient, our answer, times our divisor. And we should get our dividend. Or what we can do is that estimation with multiplication that we did before. So if we round 123 times 26, and we use our rounding to help us. I'm going to round 123 to 100. I'm going to round 26 to 30, and that is just by rounding to the greatest place value holder. Now, if I multiply these 100 times 30, I am going to get 3,000. And what you're going to do is compare this to your original divisor, that 3,000, sorry, dividend 3,198. Is it close? Yep. Yay! If it is, that means we did our division correctly to get this number of 123. So our answer, our quotient, is definitely reasonable. Okay, so I know this is hard today. I want you to try this, and we're going to keep working on division for the next 2.5 weeks. So it's going to be a while till we keep plugging away at this. So today, I want you to try it. If you are very stressed out or need help, please let me know. I do have a little bit of time this afternoon to help any of you that need help.